Well, we're going straight on by the looks of it. So, how's everyone
Keeping
doing?
us on our toes, like we mentioned earlier.
Man, it is like not a tech day today. That's for sure. When it works brilliantly. But when it doesn't work, it's just fun to try and figure out. I guess let's put a negative on it. So, welcome to the Trader Coffee Break. This is something we run every week. I'm Jason Graystone.
I'm Akil Stokes.
And we are both traders, trading coaches as well over at tier1trading.com. And if this is the first time you're joining, great. Thanks for joining. I know we're going to have the usual suspects here. Chris, Bobby, Eamon, they're all here in the chat already. And the idea of this show is that each week we get together, get away from the charts for a bit. And there's been a lot of setups. There's been a lot of interesting levels, lots of stuff going on, lots of bullish moves, bearish moves, nice structure-based opportunities as well, one of which I put on my YouTube channel yesterday, which played out nicely. And now's the time to get away from the charts and have a little bit of a chat about a rant or what's been going on or, what's on our mind. And we just recently surpassed 1,000 subscribers on this channel. I think we're at 1060. So first of all, raise your coffees to that. And thanks to everyone to subscribe.
Where's the champagne at?
Yeah, right. But thanks for everyone for subscribing and sharing the channel and everything, because we do believe that this is a fantastic resource for traders, particularly if you're new or even if you've been trading a while. These are the topics that people don't really discuss. These are the things that you think maybe you're going a little bit crazy for, but then you realize there's other people in the world just like you. And that's the whole point of this.
These are the things we wish we had when we were first learning.
Definitely.
Not just the other stuff, the stuff that really matters, which usually takes time to figure out. But
absolutely. Yeah, you should. I mean, what a fantastic educational resource. If you just go and watch all the videos, you will feel so much more normal after watching those, even though you're not. But if you're trading, you're a crazy person. But yeah, it's a great resource. So go and check out the other videos. Anyway, rambling on, we're turning it on you this week. So this is a little bit of a different. We're not gonna. Usually we bring up a topic that someone's mentioned or something's come up in one of our live trading rooms or something that's on our mind. This week we're gonna just answer some questions. So I would encourage you, if you are here live with us, or even if you're watching the recording, I would encourage you to put some questions into the comments or the chat right now. Anything that's going through your head, anything you got a question on, because even if this is after this live session, myself and Akil will check the comments and we'll reply to those comments afterwards. But if you guys have got any questions, let us know. I did put a poll out on Instagram and I got about 10 questions come in. So we've got a lot to get on with. But if you guys have got any, definitely fire away. First of all, the first question that came in was, how do I choose a trading platform or broker? Which has got to be one of the most common questions we get anyway. So, Akil, I'm gonna fire that straight over to you.
I'll say first and foremost, we did a coffee break episode on that, talking about some of our favorite platforms and broker. I know you have a really good channel. So if you guys go to Jason Graystone's personal channel, he's got a few good videos on brokers, even kind of like some investigative reporting he did on one. But as far as platform goes, I think one of the first things that you need to think about as a newer trader is you don't want to be cheap. I know so many traders where the first time they only start looking for platforms where what is the free platform? What is something I can use that won't cost me money? And you got to remember that you get what you pay for. Not saying anything against the free platforms out there, but a lot of the free stuff may not put you in a situation that's as good as the ones that you have to pay either an upfront cost for, maybe a monthly subscription for. I think at the end of the day, it's like anything else. You want to play around with a few platforms. You want to get to know them and see how does it feel? How does the interaction feel? Do I feel comfortable in using this the way that I want to do it? And I always look at my trading from this perspective, right? My platform is the element that helps me make money, right? I am a trader. It's trading plan, it's edge, it's me, it's psychology. But at the end of the day, in order for me to place trades, unless I'm going to go old school and call my broker and run up with tickets and whatnot, I've got to use my platform to perform analysis. I've got to use my platform to do execution. So for me, I want a tool that's going to allow me to do that as seamlessly and as simple as possible. I don't want to, I've used platforms before where it's hard for me to find a certain tool, or the chart moves in a way where I'm trying to do analysis and I can't get to look at it. I can't move it 360 the way I want to. So I want the most ease of really analysis on my price charts so that I'm not wasting energy on doing what I need to do. All my energy is focused on finding the setups that I need to find.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And on the flip side, you don't have to go, it's not ridiculously expensive, because I remember when I started, there was something called e-signal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
e-signal was like between $150 and $400 a month. You know, I'm not joking, but depending on the package you got. And then TradingView came along, and it was like you can do pretty much everything that you need to do for 90% of retail traders on TradingView. And it just kind of blew it out the water. And eSignal are still going because they've got a very strong, client base, and they do their thing. They're in their own kind of pigeonhole.
I'll say with eSignal, if you're more fundamentally driven, like Bloomberg Terminal, they have all the extra bells and whistles, which some may need, some may not need. I know for like me and you, we don't personally need all of that stuff, so you don't need to pay for it. Yeah,
but that was ridiculously expensive. Beautiful looking platform. I mean, it was so crisp, very, very, very impressive. But when you use it because I used it for a while, and you just figure out I'm not using half of these things. I'm not using most of this, so didn't end up using most of it. Just pick one, pick a few, play around. There's no rush, right? Just pick a few, have a little play, and the thing that Akil was referencing to on my channel is a broker video where I literally show you guys how to test what a good broker platform, what a good broker is, and just make up just come to a decision on what's right for you based on what you feel. So you can go and check that out. Maybe I'll chuck the description to that video in the description of this video after this has gone out. So check that out. Next question. You got some questions in here as well, guys. What do you think about blogging about trading as a beginner trader? A few people in my circle saying that listening about money from person doesn't make any money is not interesting. Akil, this is a good one for you because you was blogging about this originally, right?
Perfect. Yeah, this is how. So I never intended to be like a trading coach, right? It is, if you guys know my personality, like I don't like attention. I don't like I didn't believe I deserved. I wasn't a good trader at the time either. But what I did was, my mentors told me the power of journaling and whatnot, not just from a technical perspective, but from like a mental, a mind state, a psychological perspective as well. So what I decided to do, because at the time, like I didn't want to write a journal, it didn't feel right, like Dear Diary. I started a blog, and I started a blog documenting my journey as a newer trader, because it was a way for me to reflect. And I also thought it would be cool to look back at years later to see kind of where I came from. And I was really bad. I was making all mistakes. So I journal like, hey, today I found a good trade setup, but I was afraid to enter. So I didn't get in where I wanted to get involved in, but then price moved in my direction and I got in late. But as soon as I got in, it went against me, like all the normal type of mistakes that I made. And it was really just for me personally. It was on a site called Good Vibes because me and my friends, we had graduated college like during the recession. So like it was a website we created just so each of us would share like a quote of the day and kind of like a group motivational type of deal. And I don't know how people found it. I think I might've mentioned it in my trading group, but people started reading it and they started relating. They actually found it more interesting because everyone out there is just telling you, or 90% of people out there are just telling you how great they are. I found this winning trade. Oh, I didn't lose today, or blah, 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 blah. There weren't a lot of people telling you kind of the struggles. And to be honest, most traders are struggling. And I would say all traders that are real traders go through a period of struggling. So, the responses that I get is that people found it refreshing and they found it relatable, and it was more encouraging because they didn't feel alone in their struggles, knowing that someone else was going through it as well.
Yeah, awesome. And what was that blog called? I can't remember. Was it?
It was so originally it was called like Good Vibes, and I think I changed it to like ratiotradingmentor.com. I don't know, some embarrassing name.
There's a secret little fun fact about Akil that he probably won't want me to tell anyone.
Oh, no.
The RTM on his social media is Ratio Trading Mentor, which is
it's a real trading machine.
Real trading machine.
Retail trading machine.
I can imagine you sitting up all night thinking, what can I change this to make it sound more cool?
I know. Gosh.
Amazing. Next question. We've got let's see here. How do I stay up to date with market news and developments that may affect my trades? I can answer this one. First of all, we always say that you don't have to learn all the fundamentals and keep up to date with that, but it's always good to take note of higher impact news releases that might be due out during your trading so that you can stay out of certain trades. And we always recommend like Forex Factory, follow the Bloombergs on Twitter and things like that. Twitter's a great resource. Forex Factory is a great resource. And although Forex Factory isn't like it's not going to give you a degree in fundamental analysis, but it does educate you. It does teach you a little bit about why it's important in the market and when it's due out and what the previous figures were and what the projected and expected are. And it's a really good habit to get into looking at that each and every day. And it's free. Forex Factory calendar or forexfactory.com. They've got a great little calendar there, or Twitter, right? How do I, let's see some of these. What are the different types of trading and which one is right for me? Wow.
Do we have enough time for that?
Yeah, I would say, go back to the first video on this channel. Because I think that's a great place to start when we talk about getting into trading. What is trading? How do you get into it? And the first kind of 4 or 5 videos on this channel, if you click on videos, the first 4 or 5 are going to really give you a good guidance on that. I think that's fair to say, isn't it, Akil, without going into the...
Yeah. And not to get into too much detail, it just all starts off of trading is kind of identifying what your philosophy is. And I think the first main decision you need to make is, as Jason kind of mentioned in the last segment, am I going to be fundamentally based or technical based? Meaning something you could certainly use both together, but something's got to trump something else. So am I going to make a trading decisions off of the charts and candlesticks, or, it could be line charts, doesn't matter, or indicators, whatever you want, the charts, or am I going to make trading decisions based off of news events? And one has to be primary, the other one can be secondary, but it starts with that. Once you have that, now you have a path where you can kind of learn from. But yeah, it starts off by understanding that, and that's going to be different for each person. A lot of it will depend on kind of the time duration. You don't want to be a fundamental trader on the 1 minute chart. So it starts with kind of understanding that philosophy first and foremost.
Great. Yeah, great point. We've got one in the chat here from Mohit. Is it even possible to trade successfully without having your personal finances and savings in order? Well, you know what I'm going to say to this? Absolutely not. I wouldn't say it's impossible, because there are people with extreme personalities and huge appetites for risk, and they're just, they thrive in chaos. There are certain people like that, but they're very rare. So for me to be a good kind of person to take advice from, I would say for the majority, no. You cannot. And the reason being is your IQ will be lowered. You won't have the emotional intelligence to learn and implement and go through the long-term game process of implementing a trade plan if you're worried about money, And even if you're not going through the approach where I've got to get into trading to make money, even if you just want to learn it as a skill, if your finances aren't in order and you're struggling to pay the bills and etc., and you're living hand to mouth, you are not going to be able to learn a new skill. So you won't even be able to learn it. It's very difficult for information to go in when you're worried or you're in a level of poverty that's relative to your home comforts. And that literally has been a study that's been proven. I've spoke about it many times with the 56 cities in India where they tested the farmers' IQ, and when there was a drought and they had no money, their IQ dropped by 30 points. So, in order to be a decent trader, you need a relatively decent IQ, believe it or not. You really do. So that's my answer. I don't know if you have anything to say, Akil, do you?
No, that's perfect. I agree with every word.
Cool. Amazing. That's fair. So get your finances in order first, have a little cash buffer, don't worry about money, and then learn it when you're in a position to have more time and a bit of money in the bank, and the time pressure's gone, and your brain is activated, because it really does work like that. How do I manage my risk, minimize my losses? Go back to the 2 videos ago. There's a whole. Was it last one or the one before? It was one of the last 2 that we talked all about that. So we won't go into that one on this one, but it's episode 2 ago. How do I? What are the risks? Potential rewards. How do I keep track of my trades and measure my performance? Akil?
Journaling, a trade log. There's different versions of trade logs. There are ones you can purchase out there. You can be old school and create one yourself. You can get a piece of paper or a book and write them in manually. It doesn't matter. But you need to keep track of everything that you're doing in the market, right? Trading is a business, right? So imagine yourself having any other business, some type of franchise, you own a Starbucks or something like that, right? Do you think Starbucks is keeping track of inventory, how much they sell, how much they waste, right? You're doing all this stuff because it's the only way you're going to know if you are being successful or not. And I would say I wouldn't even just rely on your broker. Yes, your broker is going to send you P&L statements and whatnot, but when you're tracking it yourself, you're connected to it much more, right? When your broker sends it to you every month, you see it, and you forget half the stuff you did during that month. I would forget half the trades I took during the month just by my broker's statement. But when you're logging them every single time and you're tracking them, right? You build this identity with the trade. You know what it was, and bigger picture, that's going to help massively, because then you start to see the tendencies of hey, the last 5 times I took this type of trade, this was the result, or hey, this type of trade is really working well in this market condition. And that allows you to go back and be hey, should I look into something different with this type, or should I, risk more, or, on this type, or should I do a bigger target on this type? It allows you to see kind of the smaller details that is really necessary to you becoming to maximizing your trading. So yeah, just, make sure you log them. Again, you can buy a program out there. We have a money management spreadsheet at tier 1. You can create your own. It all depends on, what you want to get out of it and how much ease you want, but you should certainly be tracking everything you're doing. This is your business. And if you're not tracking what your business is doing, you're probably going to go out of business, I would say.
Yeah. Great, man. I have nothing to add to that. And you know what? I'm getting a great sense of all of these questions. I feel like we've done a video on these on this channel. There's
what do you know?
So far, there's not one question that's come in so far that we haven't dedicated a video to. So that just kind of reinforces what I said at the beginning about the power of this channel. The value on this channel is something I really wish I had, and I know Akil wish he had. So it's great. Done that one. What are some common trading strategies and how do I implement them? Well, common trading strategies. First of all, the market goes up, goes down, or moves sideways. Okay, so some common strategies are trend trading in the direction of the trend, counter trend trading, which is catching the reversals or the pullbacks, or structure-based consolidation type trading where you're trading in the range off of structure. You can build a plan for any of those. How do you implement it? You this is what trading is. And I'll say it a million times, I'll say it again. Pattern recognition. So you see something that happens frequently in a bullish trend, a bearish trend, or a range. You say, oh, that happens a lot. That happens frequently. How can I build some rules around narrowing in, zooming in on that, and like dialing that in to build some rules around that so I can capture that every time it happens and I can profit from that every time it happens. And then you start to do some testing, and then you say, oh, look, this is good. This is profitable. Let's tweak it here, tweak it there. Let's do some more testing. Let's go and see how it performs live in the current markets, and go and do a demo account. And then if you're right and history repeats itself as it usually does, there you go. You just go and apply some capital to it and you trade. And I know I've just summed up what trading is in like a minute, but that really is what it is. It's very simple. It's just not easy because of the patience, the work that has to go into testing, the belief that there must be an easier way because of all the crap online, and people get lost. So
see, and I would say this, like, and the thing is, I love that you said pattern recognition, because I think so many traders think I need to come into the market and do something new. I need to do something different. Yeah. And the truth is, like, the same exact thing, like the market has done the same exact thing since its existence. Like even before like technical charts existed, these same moves and these patterns have existed because it's buying and selling patterns of me and you, right? Everyone out there. So like, you don't need something new. You don't need to feed your ego and do something fresh. You look for something classic that has happened and that has happened over and over and over and over again, repeatedly in the market. And like you said, you go back, you train yourself to recognize it. You look at the best way to kind of execute it, implement risk management or whatnot. And then you go in and try to find it every day. Or I shouldn't even say try to find it. You go in and see if it's there every day. And it's that. You don't need to do more. It's pretty boring. I know me and you have like a few specific setups that we look for on a daily basis. And if we're looking at a chart that doesn't have them, we're just like, next.
Yeah, right. It's so true. I don't have anything to add to that. I think we'll take one more. Eamon says, when most guys, do you have any advice on the two mindsets of growth of account, mindsets of growth of an account versus protection of wealth? So that's an interesting one. And
good question.
I always go back to Warren Buffett, where he says, rule number one is don't lose money. Rule number two is see rule number one. And what that really means is if you focus on not losing money, you will accumulate wealth. And the growth in trading comes from the compound effect, the exponential growth of the account. And you get that from playing a game where the odds are stacked in your favor. You consistently play out your edge. You focus on not losing money. And then as you do that over time, not only does your account grow exponentially, but also your skill and your discretion builds so that you can become more aggressive on certain target taking, even though the stop loss might stay the same. Does that make sense? So you're kind of picking up when you can let things run a bit more and you catch them big home runs. Like you might catch one or two of them a year, whereas before you weren't catching any of those. So just by focusing on not losing money, you will naturally go into growth mode because you become a little bit more aggressive. I don't know what your thoughts are, Akil.
Yeah, it's 100% correct. And I would say if you need something, because I know it's often hard to think about that bigger picture because we all have it. And we've been in this game for so long that the proof is in the pudding. But when you're first starting off, a lot of traders aren't thinking 15, 20 years down the road. They're thinking like end of this year, how am I going to turn this $10,000 account into $1 million? Something that will give you perspective is literally graphing your own chart. So even if you take like, just take like a 2% per month average return on investment, because that's something that seems tiny and insignificant and pointless. And I want you to just write down, go through like, 12, 24, go through like 48 months, right? So go through 4 years and just type in 2%, type in how much your account has. And I want you to just see what that number gets to. And you're going to notice this very slow increase at the beginning, but you're going to hit a point in time where all of a sudden it starts popping. You're like, well, how the heck did it go from that to that? I'm still doing the same thing, 2% a month. And that's the compounding that Jason spoke about. You have to give that seed kind of time to grow. And then once it sprouts out, man, that tree starts to grow big. And then I love what you said about, as you're doing the same consistent things, right? As you're journaling and paying attention, you start to become a little bit more skilled in those things. So now you can kind of squeeze more juice out of that lemon. You're not doing anything different with your trading. You're not trading necessarily a new strategy. Maybe you add something here or there, but you've just gotten so skilled off your experience that you know that, hey, I know what this trade should do. I know that I can probably get a little bit more out of this because previously this is what has happened. And then boom, you get 1 or 2 home runs a year. And like, that's really all it takes. Like, like you get like one or two, like 10% or like 20% like months a year or even weeks. Like that's all it takes. You don't understand how massive that is. Like it's incredible.
Totally. Guys, remember when I when I said on 3rd of April in 2020, when I had this big trading day, it was 18 hours total of the session and it was 6 trades. And honestly, I felt like everything I'd worked for in my trading just aligned to that one day. And it was everything worked out. And we ended up, $133,000 in one day, in 18 hours, which was, that's the kind of moves we're talking about, right?
See, and you know this, right? People will look at that and they'll be like, "Oh, Jason, you just got lucky," right? Because that's what everyone ever sees. It's like, no, this is, like you said, this is everything I've worked for. I put myself in position where when these opportunities came, I wasn't scared. I didn't miss out. Like I took them. And it's not luck, man. It's not luck.
Something Akil always used to say was something that sticks with me when he said. When he trains and he runs and he prepares and people are like, what are you preparing for? And he's like, nothing. But if someone asks me, I want to be ready, right? And it's the same thing. You just want to keep at your game, hone your skill. And when those things come, you're ready. You're really, really ready. So awesome. That's been a cool session. I think there's one more, right? How often would you look to adjust the strategy to increase performance? Man, that just depends, like, on the frequency of the setups. If you're trading on the 1 minute, 5 minute chart, then you're gonna get hundreds of trades in a month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. Whereas if you're trading on the hourly or the 4 hour or the daily, you might have 8 or 20. So it's really about getting the sample size and understanding. When do you feel that you should assess the performance? There's performance that you should assess daily, there's performance you should assess weekly, and then there's performance you should assess as your total, overall performance, which should be treated like a business, right? So monthly, quarterly, biannually, annually, and you do different reviews across all of those. So depending on what type of trading system you've got, it's really going to depend on that. But ultimately, a good practice is you want to be reviewing daily and weekly and monthly and quarterly and biannually and annually. But then in terms of tweaking the system, that just depends on the frequency, because you don't want to change things too soon or change too much too soon, because you won't know what you've done to make it better or worse. So. That's really a kind of difficult one. I don't know what you would say, Akil.
Yeah, I think it's more unique to the situation. Like you never know until you know. I would say that, I do big quarterly reviews when it comes to making a change. It usually ends up being about a year for me. Yeah. But the minimum I have in my rules is 6 months. So like I want to see something perform. If it performs a certain way, negative or positive, whatever it may be, for a quarter, I identify it and I'm like, okay, let me pay attention to it. Yeah. If it does it the same way the next quarter, then for me, it's more of a trend than just kind of a unique situation. Yeah. So it would take a minimum of 6 months for me to make any type of change to my system. And that could be just evolving the system. It could be market conditions change where it's a low volatility time and I got to take targets differently. Yeah. But I think as far as like, and I'm assuming when we talk about to increase performance, maybe taking it to the next level, I think that goes back to kind of the daily review where you're journaling, you're looking at your trades, and there's something called maximum favorable excursion, where it's like maybe you're looking at a trade and or a series of trades, and you're saying, hey, these were good trades, they won, I got out, but man, it looks like each of those winners, like the market continued to go like to the next level of structure, to the next Fibonacci or to, whatever pips higher. Is there a way I could have gotten more out of this trade? And you go back to work, you look at them, review, can I do something different for my targets? And if you go through that process and you retest and you see that, hey, you can get whatever more pips per trade without it really affecting your win rate in a major way, then you can make that adjustment that says, hey, instead of placing targets here, from now on, I'm going to start placing targets there.
Yeah.
But it's important not to do that too quickly. You can't have like 1 week of trading and make a decision. That's not a big enough sample size. It has to be something that is a trend. And I would say this, you should be rather patient in making those decisions.
Yeah. 100%. Great. Well, we covered a lot. That was a lot. We'll follow up in the comments throughout the week. If you post the comments into the chat, I'll make sure that I check in and answer some of the ones that we didn't manage to hit. But we like to keep these to about half hour because obviously people are watching these and they get used to watching these on their commute or on their break and what have you. So we'll keep it at half an hour. Just one more thing I want to mention. Next Friday, I'm talking at the Trader Coffee?
Ooh.
The London Trader Show. So on your screen, you can see a little thing right here, which will show you how to get tickets. You can go and get a ticket. They're free tickets. I'm not paid to go there or anything like that, but they give me a little code to track who's going on my behalf. So if you guys want to rock up, what we've decided is combine that day into a little meetup for traders as well. So if anyone in the tier 1 community or the trader coffee break community wants to come and say hi, we're going to go and do that. We'll do the session there, and then we're going to have a little hangout after as well. So you'll be welcome to go there, and hopefully I'll see you there. Until then, Akil, another good week.
Yeah, we're going to have to get another 1,000 subscribers so we can do another Q&A and answer the rest of these questions. Tell your friends, let's get another 1,000 so we can do it.
I know, yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll definitely look forward to doing another one of these. Until next week, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your day and weekend.